10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Daphne has grown.
Hello and welcome. I know that Igor and Count mentioned the first year anniversary. This was actually recorded for the first year anniversary, and here we are 3 years later, or well, 2 years later, and we're celebrating the third anniversary of the Secret World. So happy anniversary to the best MMO out there, the bestest, the boldest. Yes, everything like full of superlatives.
Everything is awesome and good when you're TSW.
When you're part of the TSW team, that is right. So, with me tonight to talk about the third anniversary, I have to look at TeamSpeak because I don't want to forget anyone, right? So we have Xander.
We totally killed the whole illusion that we're in a studio by saying TeamSpeak. But everything is awesome because we got Scooby, the Scooby gang here.
I know.
I know. Raggy, Scooby Dooby Doo. Why, hey, Scoob, check out all the doobie snacks.
Check out that.
Crap, did I say doobie snacks?
All in behind us. Yeah, Xander will be Xander. We love him. Then we have Azekthor. Hello, all the way
Hello,
from
everyone.
down under.
Yes, it's a special occasion. I've dressed up again in my red hand uniform. Thought I'd make an effort today.
Well, you could at
Happy
least put your
anniversary.
clothes in the wash before you came on the show.
Yeah, what are those red stripes? Blood? Yeah, and considering that it's like early in the morning over there for you, that is some really special.
I was just checking to see if the sun has come up, but I think it's raining, so I can't tell.
Oh. Alrighty, next up we have Dash, who was actually here for the first year anniversary. And she was one of our listeners, then became one of the panelists. Then real life interfered, but she's with us today because our Very couldn't be here. Hello, Dash.
Hi everyone, I missed you.
Dashing. She was dashing through the snow in
Well, that's a new one,
Pennsylvania.
Xander.
Yes, every pun, every joke
Gosh,
that
he's probably
Xander
been
could
building
come
them
up
up
with
while I'm
Dash.
gone.
And then we have Gigabyte.
Hello. How are
Hello,
you?
hello.
Hello, you.
Are you getting some sleep?
No. Powered by chocolate and Red Bull yet again.
He's
Oh,
actually
don't worry.
asleep right now. That's how
Yeah.
good he's gotten at it.
Cool. And next up we have Griff. Hello, Griff.
Hello, and I am in tie-dye because I had to be for today.
Aww.
Well, you just can't say it, show it. You also got a mood ring, too.
I do. I have a mood ring.
Cool.
Ju-
Yeah, when it
just,
What
in
is
ca-
it?
just in case I lose track of the fact that I'm, super happy to be here. I have a mood ring to tell me,
Well, and now we actually know for a fact that you are happy to be here.
Oh, there we go. See?
Is that what
There.
green means?
I'm gonna go with it. Yes, it totally
Apparently
does not
green
mean
means not under stress.
Yeah,
Apparently.
relaxed.
Ah.
that. There we
Relaxed.
go. There we go. Thank you.
Yes, we have that kind of influence on people.
Especially me.
I thought we had the opposite effect, to be honest. But
Yeah, especially after the Igor and Count song. But hey,
yeah.
so back to the
Oh.
third year anniversary. We also have Roman Amiel, known as Stilty in our community. And for those who still don't know who he is, he's the lead designer of The Secret World. He's joining us tonight in honor of The Secret World's third anniversary and maybe tease us with a few things.
Do I do that? Do I? Hello, everyone.
No, you would never
Hi.
tease us.
Tilty.
Tilties.
How are you doing?
Tilties, yeah.
We are doing awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's great. It's awesome to see the anniversary and the way it's so many things going on. It's great to see so many players, so many people happy. I'm happy. It's great.
Yeah, you're hippie happy.
I'm happy. I dressed up for the occasion.
Yeah, I know. Pretty cool. So I take it the clothes from the Bohemian bags, they do come in different sizes, and yours would be like super XXXXL.
Something like that, yes.
It's not the size of the bag that counts as the way you use that, Pilgrim.
And how many
Mhm.
flares you get out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations on reaching your third anniversary in the
Thank you
game.
very much.
You've been in the game from from before it went live, right?
That's right, yeah. Been working on the project for 5 years now, I think. It's been some time.
Nice, nice. So the previous year has had you guys really, really busy. If you could sum up the last year in just one word, what would that word be?
Keep it clean now, Tilly.
Stress.
One word. Oh my god. Insane.
Flares.
Insane.
Yup. No,
Okay.
it's been a roller coaster. The last year. I mean, it's good. I think we're finally finding our speed. We've been facing like a lot of challenges. We've had like, as you know, we always have plenty of ideas, a lot of things that we want to do, and then a time issue usually. So it's been always like battling time to try and do everything that we want to do, and then we've had obviously Joel moving to another project and these kind of things. The way I see it is like he was taken away from me, so I'm still heartbroken by this. It's kind of it's you know, it's interesting. I mean, it's great for me, like, you know, sort of stepping out in the world and trying to fill in his issues while, you know, doing everything else, which I was doing. So it's kind of it's been interesting for me at least, and I think like as a team we've been we were very happy to finally get Tokyo out of the way, and you know, for us it's like it's a big step now because we get to move on to everything else, which has stacked up everything else we want to do. And yeah, we have a lot planned up, like for the upcoming month and upcoming years and upcoming decade, I should say.
Ooh, you mentioned upcoming month. Does that mean what I think it means?
Mm.
Oh, now he pretends he does not know what I'm talking about.
He's like, I didn't say anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what you think. Yeah, you see, for me, it would be the one word would be Tokyo, because you guys have released Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken, on the second anniversary, and it just kind of it was a slow burning release of Tokyo, and now that it's finally out of the way, you know, it must feel like a really, really big relief. Okay, you still haven't done the group content that you're about to release, at least some of it, and we'll talk about that as well. But yeah, the
Yeah.
like the possibilities now after Tokyo. I know you guys have your roadmap for the rest of the year, right? But so we'll come talk to. There's so many different questions that are going through my head right now. I even confuse myself. Yay!
No, I mean, you're right. Tokyo, I think, has been, you know, but we mentioned this before, so I think like people might be sick of it, like, you know, to listen to it now. So I don't want to go into too many details. But yes, Tokyo has been it has been a challenge, you know, from a world design standpoint and from everything. It's difficult to work with such busy. How to say, like, but I was modern, but cityscapes type of things. It's there's a lot going on. They're very, very difficult, like exactly urban landscape. Like it's they're very difficult to work with. They're very limiting, and and they cause like a lot of delays, but now they're out of the way. I mean, I'm happy with the way the story went. I'm happy with what we've told. We have a lot more to say and a lot more like new locations and everything that we want to do. We're using the opportunity right now to work on some of the end contents that we've promised. So doing dungeons and raids, and then we want to do something for PvP, and then going back into the stories and. So yeah, a lot planned.
Cool. Now, just one more thing about like the third year of the game. When you look back over it, what do you think the biggest achievement for the game was in its third year? What are you guys as a team? What are you most proud of?
That's a great question.
The horse head.
Yes. Thank you. That's my answer.
Don't give him,
Came to
don't
your
give him answers.
Hey,
You.
he's my bro. We all have
Thanks for the
hookahs right
save.
now, and we're all getting bohemian raps. It's all about brotherly love. Get down with the mad
Getting out the
jive.
Scooby Doobies.
You jive turkey.
Jive turkey.
Did he just call me turkey?
No.
Wow.
I want to say right now, for those of you listening at home, those of you in the chat channel, I did not call her a turkey. I called her a jive turkey.
He's gonna pay for that later.
Oh, but let's see. What am I
That was
the
terrifying.
most proud of? I mean, there's a lot of things I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I think it's
Give us a list.
Tokyo.
And everything that
Um,
contains.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the atmospheres in Tokyo. I'm happy with a lot of things that we've done. Like the thing I usually I'm the proudest of is any single time we manage to reach this kind of the horror atmosphere. That like the startup part of TSW. I think it's a lot more than just being a horror game now. But I love going back into those basics and being able to do pieces which I know still spook players out. And like I think like the parking lot we've done in issue 9. I love watching still people play it and being terrified by the gakus, like the little girls. Like it's fun for me, like to sort of imagine something saying, oh, we have this stuff, like we trapped into between two fences, but it needs something more. Okay, let's just add let's just add this bright red light, and then okay, it's not enough. Okay, let's add a little girl that I put her on the ground, like upside down, looking at you, and then just despawn everything. Leave it for a few seconds, and it's great to see like all this kind of little touches that we do to make sure it works, to trying it on ourselves and see, yes, it's definitely startling, and then watching people and suddenly watching them getting startled, it's very satisfying. So I love working on this, and then introducing a lot of NPCs. Like it was really fun getting to work with John and trying to exploit as much as the psyche of that of that very unique character. The fact that is not doesn't have a physical form anymore, gave us so many things that we can do with it, like a new way of storytelling. And Josh did again a fantastic time, like bringing him to life in his texts. And I mean, what else? Yeah,
It's
I
just
think like,
a compilation of like smaller things, it seems, that
it really
make
is. Like
it
it's
into
very
a big
difficult to
thing.
single one thing out. It's exciting. It was good to to get it out of the way, and yeah, it's fun to see the reaction. And now like it's of course my head is full of issue 12 and 13 and 14 right now. So it's kind of, I have all these exciting things. I'm like, oh this, oh no, not yet. So we'll see.
Aw, I was hoping for a tilt.
Not yet.
Tilties.
This is like, that's why you put this Hitman thing, because he's like leaning, he's tilting. He's tilting to the side.
Oh yes.
Cool. So how did you guys pick the theme for the bags, the bohemian bags? Did you guys, was this something that you kind of had some artwork already done, and you just chose it, or did you come up with it especially for this anniversary?
Um, no, we came up with it specifically. We have like kind of a bucket list of of things that we want to do. Like we have a lot of themes and everything that we have in there, saying, okay, let's see, like. Gemma, for example, like that as our project manager is she deals a lot with all the clothing and everything, and she's going to see a lot of cool clothing that we have, saying, oh, that would be great, and we can do this in our tech, so we should try to do this in TSW, and then we tend to have meetings on which we discuss, okay, we have another event coming up, like we want to do another bag, we need a theme for it, and we try to go with something which fits. And sort of this one, like we've been for a while looking at really cool like piece of clothing that we say we can do. We want to do something very colorful, like something which was like very had this kind of celebration to it. And we went into the whole the whole like 70s hippie wave, like summer, like, and it went to like summer of love. It's sort of everything trickled down and clicked. So it's like, okay, let's just go for it. And then of course we wanted to do a new bike. Now that we have the mounts ready, so it's like, okay, let's do like a 70s bike. And then we started toying around. What do the 70s remind us, and things from my childhood. So of course we had to talk about Scooby-Doo, and it's like, oh, it would be great to do an homage to this, and then and let's do like a color scheme on a new bike which is inspired by the Mystery Machine, and there you have it.
Nice. Well, I know something else people have noticed during this event specifically is that the lag seems a little bit better while we're out hunting world bosses. So did you want to talk a little bit about what you guys did and if it seems to be helping and a little bit of that?
Sure, of course. I mean, so yeah, the world bosses is something that we introduced it with the first anniversary. It was something I wanted to do because I like big things. I like big monsters. I usually like, my favorite part in MMOs as a player is usually the raiding and the combat side. So I really enjoy this kind of thing for me as a player. And I was like, I wanted to do something which sort of brought people together, that wasn't too difficult, but gave everybody that vibe of cool, I'm fighting something gigantic. So we went into saying, okay, let's just grab, golems that we have, like monsters that would look good still, scaled up, something that still look heavy enough so they would work great, with the animations, the textures don't stretch, so more kind of the technical jargon, like the kind of stuff that we worry behind the scene, and put them on and, give them some health, make sure they take about 10 minutes to kill, and then see how it goes and reward people for this. And we did it and it worked out pretty great. I mean, like we keep doing kind of events this way because the first anniversary went beyond, what I had anticipated, like watching people create channels in order to track the golems and going at it, like making it such a bigger event, which I had in mind. But I know one of the biggest complaints about it was the issues that people were getting. So first of all, server lag, because it's a lot of people like in combat in a very tight space. So for the servers, of course, it's stressful. And on top of it, on the clients, so based on everyone's personal machines, based on their graphic cards and processing power, like their computer as well is going to give them like visual lag, and this was this was more an issue. And of course, the visual lag is easy to understand why. It's a lot of NPCs to draw. It's a lot of particles to draw. But one of the uniqueness we have in TSW is the fact that pretty much every characters in there is wearing different clothing. So for your computer to render, like everybody's specific earrings and textures, each clothing, it's a lot of things to process. So we realized it was slightly too much. We're asking too much for people's computers. So all of this was like, we have an easy way to try and fix it. Like we can't really fix something which is people's machines. Because unless we give a free computer for every copy of TSW you spent, which of course is never going to happen. Don't quote me on this. But there's not much we could do about this. It's like, what is the best way of doing it? And one of the way, like one of the way that we have in mind, we have a plan of other things to do, but it was like, let's reduce the amount of characters that each computer is going to have to draw, and that was just, let's just limit then the amount of players who can go in each playfields, and let's of course reduce the health of the golems as well, so they don't take as long, to kill, because if we reduce the amount of and it's actually a funny story there, because we're like, okay, we're reducing the amount of players who can go in there like roughly by half, so let's reduce the health roughly about half as well. And then we realized that the lag from people was actually taking a much bigger toll than we thought, because we estimated like the time would be around 10 minutes still with the calculation that we made based on what we knew from when we had like 120 people doing it. And we realized it was actually now, like, the golems, instead of still taking 10 minutes, would take about 5 minutes. And it really means that, a lot of people were lagging so much that they could barely participate. And of course, we're aware that a lot of people would just go in there, attack the monster once, and because it was so unenjoyable to be in there, they would say, okay, I'm out of here, and then not actually participate in the kill. So what we're seeing now is, from the 60, 70 people who are going in there and tagging the monster, like, everyone is actually participating, so there's a lot more damage done, so monsters are dying faster. So for next year, I might
very
just
fast, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably increase the health a little bit next year to try and go back to the 8-10 minutes. I didn't want to do it now because it would be another server downtime and doing this kind of thing to sort of make it happen, and it's probably not worth it. Let's just make it happen this way. Like, the good thing about having so many zones, and I know some people are a little bit disappointed because the zones fill up really fast.
Yeah.
But on the other end, there's also way more golems out there. So if one zone is up, that just means like you're going to have all these other people to come with you and grab over golems. So I think this will settle down in a few ways, and it's going to become easier for people to start hunting and not facing the locks that we have right now, because we really have very high spawn rates on the golem. So they and we look at it, there's a lot of them who are just being left peacefully right now unfound, in some zones. So it's just a matter of people finding them and meeting up on people, and I think it will solve itself, hopefully.
Yeah, because
Yes,
people
and
tend to
that's-
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. That's one of the things I've noticed. I'm not having noticeably more full instances than, say, last year, because more seem to be spawning. If I hit one full, I can go to another one, and even last year, I'd hit a full instance when everyone was really busy. Except now I have less lag, so that's a plus.
Good.
Yeah,
Even
it is
during
noticeable.
in comparison to the last event, the Guardians of Gaia, or was it? Or the Golden Week, I think it was. I was not able to participate almost at all. Just the lag was unbearable. I think I may have killed like maybe 10 of them, and then it was not worth my participation, because I would be able to hit off an ability, and that would be it. Next time I would be able to move, I was dead. So this time around, I was able to get like 20 FPS minimum. I was able to participate in every single fight. And like you mentioned, Griff, if you hit an instance that's full, there's another one there. The only thing that people in the beginning, there was only golems that they found in the Solomon Islands, Kingsmouth, Savage Coast, and Blue Mountain. So everybody was like scattering around in the rest of the zones trying to find those ones as well. Was this by design, Tilty? Do they, as you begin the event, you kind of lead up to it? So rather... Oh, it is?
Yeah,
okay.
That was, if you remember, we did the very first time, the very first anniversary, there was a ramp up, like for... I think for a couple of days, it was only in New England, and then it was Egypt, and then it was Transylvania. So we had the same ramp up, sort of planned for this, and then when we realized people were getting very confused by it, because of course, I think last year we just directly set it to be all of them. So we're like, okay, let's just ignore the ramp up. People seem very confused that they're not spawning in the other zone. So we just set it up so that they would spawn everywhere right away.
If I remember back from that first year, whenever they came to a new area, they got announced by the characters on Twitter. I think Nasir let everyone know that they'd reached Egypt, for example.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. We
Now,
had,
oh, sorry, go on.
no, that was it.
Well, the golems and all the scarves we've got, that's not the only thing that's been with this anniversary patch. You managed to very sneakily sneak in a elite version of the penthouse, which was something that we'd been told wasn't going to happen, as it would direct time away from issue 12. So what happened there? Why do we get this gift?
And he's complaining.
I'm very convincing. No, I mean, it was. It's so, as I said last time, it's something I wanted to do the elite version since day one, but we didn't have the time, and we promised to do very hard content, which is why we decided to make it nightmare only, making an elite version take some times that we didn't really have when we were working on issue 12. I had it at the back of my mind as trying to figure out what it is that we can do to make that elite doable, and we sort of we starting scavenge, literally we went to the point where we were scavenging time, and then we found enough enough hours that we had the clear plan, we knew exactly what we were doing. And we gave it a strike team, saying, okay, let's do this elite version because it's going to help out. We knew people would be annoyed that we put some lore in there, but the lore was literally added because people wanted to know more about Uta. We hadn't really planned to say more about the character because for us, I think I mentioned in the previous stream, she was really very secondary. The biggest thing about her was that she was not just one character. So that's why we're okay, the reveal in itself is going to make her less important. People are no, we have to know now everything about the three characters. So we had that story written for us because we always need to have all this background, for us to be able to design cohesive story. We're okay, let's actually give it out and use the Nightmare Dungeon to give it away. And then we make sure as part of the Nightmare Dungeon, it was it became a rare piece of lore. It was tradable. We wanted people to do Nightmare to be able to get out there and, give out the lore, or sell out the lore to whoever wanted it. But we realized, it didn't come out often enough. The dungeon was too difficult. That not enough people managed to actually even defeat Uta. So okay, let's just go on. Let's give it an easier version elite so everybody can actually enjoy those mechanics that we have. Make things hit not quite as hard. And yeah, and then I sort of gave it the date of the anniversary. I was okay, it would be great, to give it an extra gift for the anniversary of doing this kind of little things, and then it's back on issue 12, full focus, and this is what we're working on right now.
Oh, it was a really nice little surprise for us.
Very.
I've absolutely adored the Nightmare version of Pentas. Haven't quite beat it yet, halfway through the third fight, but absolutely love having this really difficult extra challenge, and it's going to add a lot to issue 11's longevity for us. So would you consider doing this sort of smaller size group challenge to future content? Could we see some of this with future story issues?
Maybe. It's the problem, I would say yes if it came free to us. It really making boss fights is difficult, making a single boss fight, something which is aimed at one player, is a completely different design than you would do at something which is aimed at a group of 5 people. So it adds a lot of time for us if we, for when we do the story mission and we decide to make a cool solo fight at the end. I'm thinking the clubhouse had a lot of very cool single player fights that we made in there. Making a group version, which is not just give it extra HP. It's making the mechanic happen, making sure the tank has something to do, the healer has something interesting to do, the DPS has something to do. It's not just tank and spank, as we call it, as everybody calls it, and it's also giving it rewards. Of course, people are not just going to do content if you don't give them something that they want out of it. So it's kind of it's a whole extra step that we have to do, which makes it a lot more difficult for me to say yes, we're going to do it every time. But it's something I keep in mind. It was fun to do for the Penthouse. The Penthouse was sort of designed this way from the get-go. When we decided working on issue 11, we said, okay, this is going to be like a group version, so it's its own instance. It's really meant to be bosses after bosses, and we'll make all of the design was sort of created, and they were complex for the single player version, just so we could use that complexity to make the group fight later, and still required an extra couple of weeks of just doing like the group version. So we're talking about a lot of time. So we'll see in the future. We don't always have like that many bosses as well in a row. So it's kind of we'll see. People are okay maybe just doing one boss, the final boss, and not doing several might be something we might be able to do. But it feels to me like it's my biggest thing still I want to see is how well the issue 12 is going to be received, being mostly about end game content, so being dungeons and all these kind of things. I want to see how well it is received, because then we mentioned last time, if we realize that people like it, and enough issues are going to be solved, that means it's going to be easier for us to say, okay, like now from now on we'll do like 2 or 3 story issues, and then we'll do one which is going to be dedicated to a smaller portion of our players. So in this case, the more hardcore players, and then potentially the same with PvP. But it's always a matter of seeing what is going to be the interest and the sales. And it's always like the misperception from everyone that everybody plays MMO wants to do dungeon. I think I mention it every time, but it's really true that it is, from what I know, a small percent of all the players that we have. We have so many players, and most likely players who are not listening to the stream tonight. People who just don't really know about MMOs. They're not really interested, I want to say, as much about the community around it, or devs or anything which is happening. What they want to play is the game. They want to see the stories. They want to just immerse themselves into that game. And when they see a new story is out, they say, oh, cool, I'll play it. But when they see it's a dungeon, they're like, I never even played the Polaris, so why would I just buy a new dungeon? So this is my worry, but we'll get an answer about this fairly soon.
Yeah,
Well,
on this
Katarina One is in the channel right now on Twitch, listening to your every word, and I'm sure
Oh.
you know who that is.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, she was looking a little bit tiny earlier today. On that topic, I'm just going to jump halfway through our list of questions, because you mentioned seeing if issue 12 would sell. Now, the recent developer's letter that just came out a day or two ago, it only mentioned a single dungeon. It seemed to be winding back our expectations. Now, just one dungeon doesn't seem like much of an incentive to buy a whole issue. So what else can we expect in that issue? Is the raid still on the table, for example?
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much about it tonight, just because we have. I think I mentioned in the last streaming one that we're gonna have like a bigger reveal about issue 12.
Yeah.
So next Friday. So I want to leave myself a little of a few reveals to have then. But no, we really have, like, we are working currently on 2 dungeons, but it's a lot of work. It's a long time, and we're trying to make sure, like, there's a lot to do, because you've seen our dungeon, they're not just some trash and simple like tank and spank monsters. Like we have new models, we have new animations, new brand new location, and then of course we have like a new mission that goes into this, like new cutscene, new story. If you remember, like if you've noticed all of the dungeon, you always have like sort of a voice leading you and telling you the story of the dungeon, what's going on. So we have all of this going on, which I mean, I tell you the truth, like I played through the entire thing today, and it's awesome, because it's taking shape, but it's not quite there yet. Like there's still quite a lot of polish to be like the level the level of quality that that I want for it. And so what we're going to do, what we've done so far is like we're focusing on all of our effort on one of the dungeons, so we can release it at first, and then we'll do something similar to what we've done with issue 11. Is as soon as something is ready and we have something good to deliver, we'll put it out there so that you guys have something to do while it gives us a bit more time to finish up on the second one. And we're doing the same thing with the raids. Like we're gonna. I think, yeah, we mentioned it already. So we're removing the key from the Eidolon. So now you're gonna have 2 raids that you can do like on a regular basis without having to farm the key for the Eidolon, and we're also adding a third one, and then we'll do different modes for those things and other plans. Like it's a full issue. It's gonna be. There's going to be
So that's all planned for issue 12.
All of this is planned for issue 12, yeah. And issue 12 is going to come as well with some free goodies, I want to say, for everyone to enjoy, like a lot of quality of life that we're not putting behind a pay gate. So it's going to be just for everyone, just because issue 12 is out, and then hopefully then people will still come and check out the dungeon. We'll see.
Nice. So it sounds like there's lots and lots of things and goodies coming our way.
Mm-hmm. No, we have like the plans right now is like we're not stopping between new features and new content and tons of things. We really have our plates full until the end of the year.
Cool. So talk about content. You have mentioned, and I think Joel has mentioned as well, that there's a number of missions that have been already completed or they're very close to completion for Tokyo, which were supposed to come out in side story packs, which you guys have decided to kind of rebrand into something else. Will we still be getting those missions that you guys have ready for Tokyo in maybe bundled differently in the future, or will you not be releasing them? How have you decided to go about that?
It's still in discussions right now. So I mean, it's choosing, like, just to correct you a little bit, because like the maybe Joel had left it ambiguous to start with, but we have we have a lot of NPCs who have been recorded, so we have a lot of stories and designs that were made. When we recorded NPC as part of issues, we usually have a big plan for them, so we try to do everything in a go. So we are sitting on a bunch of stories that we would like to release, but as you know, like. Doing the side stories just never really worked out for us. Like they sold really poorly. So we sort of took note that okay, people are not interested in this, and so we stopped. So it kind of it removed that mean that we had of telling with extra stories, because that's what they were, side stories. They were meant to be just about finding out more about some of these characters. But the missions themselves, and this is what you said, we have a lot of missions were made. Like the missions are not done at all. Like there's still a lot of work to do it. Like we're sitting on voiceover, but we need to do the entire cutscenes. We need to do the missions themselves, which is a lot of work. It's at least 50%. Like making a mission, like making the cutscene and the mission take about like the same amount of time, like for each. So it's a lot of work. So we're sitting on this, and of course I don't want to lose it. And these are NPCs, I think, who have some very interesting stories, which I would love to tell.
So some of them are brand new to us, or might potentially be brand new to us.
There are some NPCs who have not been released because they were only meant to be involved in the side stories, and a lot of them are existing NPCs who just have extra missions and extra things. So I don't know if you will be able to release all of them. There's definitely some of them. Like I'm working on a way to try and make more of a cohesive stories out of some of those missions, so we can potentially release a new issue who's gonna who's going to tell those stories while having like a different story. But we'll see. Like it's good for us to have like this data, but I'm not necessarily going to try to force it if I feel it doesn't work. Like if I can, I will. If we have a good way. If not, it's the same. Like there's a lot of people have been data mining us for enough that you can see we're sitting on a lot of things that sometimes it's easier for us to say, okay, we're not going to do this, so we can just fully concentrate on the future and do something new. It's a shame, not to say more about those NPCs, but it doesn't mean we're not going to introduce new super awesome NPCs that you'll want to know more about, in the near future. So it's we'll see how
Nice.
things goes.
Nice. I hope you do get a chance to release them, because it'd be a crying shame if they weren't released. I know this. You saying everything about side stories, and it makes sense from business perspective, but it's the lore person in me that goes, release it. We want more.
Yes,
I
indeed.
totally agree.
Just on going back to the penthouse, Tilty, you guys fixed a bug in the nightmare version where various mitigation effects weren't working. Now that they do, that part of the fight is being described as trivial by a lot of the community. Since people were previously able to defeat the dungeon despite this bug, why did you guys decide to fix it?
Give me a second. I'm just putting one quick thing in general channel, just advertising for the podcast, and then I'll answer.
No props.
Yeah, that part of the fight that people are now describing as trivial, the healing of the filthy amalgam, whatever it called, the big filth spider. I've never been able to see that myself yet. We haven't quite got to that part. I must say
Yeah.
that the penthouse is fantastic.
So the pandas, I mean, this was a little bit of a mix-up with one of the designers. We did something for the elite version that sort of highlight the fact that some of the tanks mitigation weren't really working with. I'll tell you the entire thing. I'll tell you the truth. It'll be easier.
You were going to lie to us, Tilty?
No, I wasn't. I was trying to find a way to say it. I was like, there's an easy way of saying it.
This is how Tilty gets in trouble.
We had a new designer working on the fight, and when he did the filth amalgam, he decided to use a damage type, he decided to make the monster use filth as a damage because the monster is made out of filth, and I never noticed it in the design, so that was my fault. Filth damage is something which is very, very specific for us in our system terms, in the fact that this is the only damage that we have in the game which is completely unmitigated. So we use it for field damage, like in open areas, like stuff which is on the ground that is meant to do a lot of damage and meant to give people the incentive of moving out of it and not just trying to constantly heal through it or trying to use protections. Like it's just stand out of the filth. When we use monsters, what we do is we usually have them do physical damage, because physical damage obeys to all of the system we have in the game. So it obeys to wards, it obeys to all kind of mitigation that the tank is normally going to use. The only place where we use field damage is on the avoidable attacks that the monster is going to do, for example. But in this case, he decided to change the basic damage to be filth because the monster is made out of filth, so logically it makes sense. But he didn't know about all this implication of filth behind. And then, he saw a lot of tank complaining about the original fight, saying like, they were taking too much damage, like, protection was completely useless against this. So he decided, okay, now it's probably I should probably fix it. And I sort of, I went and did a lot of work behind it to try and make the filth damage work the same as physical damage. But he didn't know about this. So he did all this kind of work to try and do like, special cases on which if you get hit by this, like those wards get working. But it was it did a lot of work in design that is normally handled by code, and did a couple of mistakes along the way, like didn't realize that if people were going over 100% mitigation, then the monster, instead of hitting, it would start healing the target. So it's the bug that we fixed the other day. And now, like, the monster is susceptible to wards again. It means that it works as if it was doing physical damage, making it a lot easier to tank, because suddenly, like, a well-geared tank is gonna receive less damage. It's there would have been an easy way to fix it, as I told him after I found out everything which happened, and wrapped my head around it, which is just change the damage back, like from filth to physical, and we're done with it. And we're sort of going to change it in the future, because I don't like the idea of a monster who does filth damage, just because it's so dangerous, and that's why that fight was so difficult. So we will change it to physical, which will, from your perspective, is actually not going to change anything. This monster is once again going to be just like he is now, and is going to be easier to tank. We might increase his damage a little bit, but at least it's going to be mitigatable, which should make it a lot more interesting for everyone to actually use the actual abilities.
It does seem to have been quite a difference, the amount of damage that tanks were receiving before and after this.
Of course,
mitigation effects.
It went from being completely unmitigatable, and keep in mind, like, tanks fairly commonly reach like 100 to 150% mitigation, like not just 20% mitigation. So the damage reduction is massive. And that's why now it is a lot easier. So we probably will increase his damage to do something more similar to what we did. If you think of the Yordrog, for example, in the Polaris, like, when people first met him, he's a monster who does a lot of physical damage, and could destroy tanks fairly easily. So we're going to make the monster more like this. But it's... so
it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, it's not going to change much. It's going to be harder a little bit. He won't be doing field damage anymore. He will just be doing physical damage. Like, most likely we'll do this at the same time as issue 11 is coming. Issue 12 is coming out, excuse me. And yeah, this fight in particular, like, as well, like, it's meant to be more of a DPS check, like the entire thing. It's really, really focusing on the DPS. So I really don't mind if the tanks have a little bit of an easier time. It makes it easier for to try and actually help out on the DPS, rather than keeping it like so obscure. Like, I have other fights planned in the future to be like more kind of a tanking challenges. So we'll get there. I see a lot of French going on I was getting distracted because I'm reading. It's like, well, I understand what's going on in the general channel. It's all in French.
They're trying to make you feel at home.
It's the most honorable language of all.
It is.
Just so you know, the chat channel.
Sorry, what sort of language is that?
Yeah. Just so you know, when we first started broadcasting, the chat channel has gone completely nuts because they wanted you to still say honorable. And since it is the 3rd year anniversary, and it's our 3rd year anniversary too, that would be the honorable thing to do.
And we have been asking for that many years as well. You got to give us a break here, dude.
We'll stop asking once you say it.
Yeah, exactly. Once you say it, that's it. We're happy. We're done.
Okay. Moving on to something slightly even. You may actually
I'll
choose
sneak in the conversation later.
You may actually choose to say, okay, here's the deal. Instead of answering this next question, you can just say honorable. What about scenarios? We want scenarios. What's happening with them?
Honorable.
Yay!
Yay.
Okay.
Yay.
Wow, I like this. It's my get out of jail free card.
And the thing is,
I reserve the right to use it again.
Returned.
we had 83 viewers in the chat channel screaming for you to say honorable, and I think that's probably the biggest present you've get. The bestest present that they'll take away from this whole show. They won't. They'll forget in a week. They'll forget about all the cool stuff for the anniversary. The only thing they'll remember from now on to like the next anniversary is, oh my God, he said it. He said it. Really?
He said it publicly on third anniversary.
He says he's an honorable person.
I know what the title for this episode is going to be on iTunes now.
Guilty gets the honorable mention.
Yay!
That's great news for
Awesome.
everyone except for people that like scenarios.
I'm actually
Yeah, I was
grinding
kinda hoping for an
scenarios right
answer.
now because, well, just in case if someone new is listening to us, someone new to the game, during the first year anniversary, we had all the buffs, and that has transcended to the second and now the third anniversary. So you basically get double AP. You get 1 extra black bullion whenever you get bullions. You get 50% more Oreos when you do scenarios. And you also get a 50% research data in Tokyo when you do your missions there. And you also get an increase in white marks if I'm not I got confused. Is it white or black? But I think it's the white marks, and then you transfer it into. Is it also 50% Tilty?
No, I don't see the buff for the marks this time.
Yeah,
You wouldn't see it here because you're not in a PvP zone, but I think it is. It says so on the. I'll double check. But
honestly
anyway,
can't
you
remember.
get
Well,
get all
I
these
am-
buffs.
I am looking at the email that I was sent today from Funcom, and it says 50% more rewards in PvP. Every time you earn marks of Venice from PvP, you earn 50% extra. It doesn't
Yep.
actually state black or white.
Yeah, it's white marks because you end up getting white marks. The only thing that I'm not sure, I haven't paid attention when I was in PvP, for the 3 daily missions that you get in Fuseng, for example, when you get black marks for completion of the mission, such as say capturing a facility, you get 50 black marks. I'm not sure if that's also increased to 75. So Very's not here, so she can confirm. Maybe someone in Twitch chat.
Yep, someone in chat said it's
Yeah.
both.
Yep, it is. So yeah, everybody across the board, PvPers and PvEers alike, actually do get these great bonuses. So if you're leveling up, if you are leveling up at the moment, if you do need extra APs, and remember with extra APs, you also gain SPs that much more quickly. So do use that up. I know I need Oreos and I'm grinding them.
And something else cool about all this, every day we can buy 2 of the single, the personal loot bags. And we can
Yay.
use packs, we can use bullion, or black marks. So whatever part of the game you
Yes.
enjoy, if it's buying and selling stuff on the auction house, doing your PvP, doing your dungeons, you can join in this event, and that is absolutely fantastic.
Or
That is
killing
right.
a million world bosses and getting packs that way. That's also
True.
valid.
True, because you do get quite a bit of APs and XPs from that. So
It's
yeah,
true.
it's a win-win for everyone. All right, so I gotta go back to my show notes. Da-da-da-da-da. I am so prepared this time around, and I've lost them from all the stuff I have opened.
I have a quick
Okay.
question.
Go for
How long would it take to change the design of the black and white marks? Because that is the most confusing thing in this entire game.
Oh,
You know, but you know,
I know
what,
what you
I
mean.
wish I could answer this right now, but watch the next streaming one. There's going to be some reveals there.
Hooray!
Oh, so the
Oh.
currency revamp is
Ooh.
still in the works.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Alrighty. Okay, so we know now that issue 12 is coming up. And we kind of know from what you have said and from what you have hinted at, and I guess we'll find out more on Friday, what exactly even more goody stuff that are going to be making their way into the game. From earlier interviews that we've had with you, we know that you guys have had the roadmap completely made to the end of the year. What can we expect until the end of the year, from autumn and then going into winter until the end of 2015? And maybe even, what can we expect from the fourth year of the game?
New things.
Do not leave us hanging.
Oh, you heard it here first,
All of
folks.
the
New
things.
things.
Well, that's a whole lot better than
Yes.
what I was going to say. I was going to say stuff.
We will be getting all of the things.
New things confirmed.
That will teach me to be a lot more specific, and you will only have one honorable get out of jail card for interview.
No, I really can't talk about this. I mean, you're right. Like we tend to do our roadmaps like a year at a time. Just so we can plan for the new content coming out, like new features, new art, etc. So it's a lot planned, but it's better for us just to announce like one issue at a time, because we've known like it's difficult, because like it's it's a nice thing to tease people about things, and we've done this a lot in the past, but when we start revealing things, it's
Too much in advance?
yeah, it becomes a problem, because we always have to adjust to anything that's going to happen, and sometimes the things that we have to adjust, the thing we have to adjust to are things that we can't plan for. As I mentioned, like before, our lead programmer, ended up spending 2 months in a hospital and including several weeks in a coma. So it's the kind of thing you don't really plan for, and of course it has an effect on making games. So, and it always, if we start revealing things that we have to change the plans for, it only ends up disappointing people. So we sort of at least I have this new policy of just keeping it more realistic, really starting hyping up things when we know they're coming up. As I was about to say, we know what's going to be in issue 12, so we're going to talk about it like in a few days. For the bigger project that we know that we started working on, which I can say, they're going to come a year from now. Also, we'll start doing it when it's ready. But I think it's just going to make everybody happier, because when we talk about something, it's coming up for real. It's not going to be a wait now another 3 years before it might happen. So yeah, that would be great.
Well, I got a question.
From what I know from that roadmap, at least from everything I've seen in there, like I'm excited to work on all those things. It's being the part of the workforce behind it, I can tell you it's very challenging. We have a lot planned. We want to do a lot, and I hope we can meet up with that bar that we've set to ourselves. And yeah, if we get all of this done by the end of the year, it'll be very exciting. But it will include stuff definitely for Halloween and for Christmas at least. There's no much guessing there.
Well, it's
Does
always,
that mean
We do it every
does
year.
that mean we're gonna get like some sort of update to those events?
Yeah, we'll do. I mean, we want to give people an opportunity to replay the events as we've done, and then usually we tend to add things. Particularly, I mean, Halloween is our biggest holiday, so I'm always making sure like we do something for this, at least new,
More
every
severed
time.
feet.
And then exactly. But yeah, the rest I want. But you don't have that much longer to wait. Give it another week, and then we'll say everything about issue 12.
Yay!
Ooh.
Yay! And that's really awesome that you guys
Yay.
have a roadmap. I'm really happy you guys have a roadmap for, this year and next year, stuff like that, because now we have motorcycles. So more roadmaps would be good in the game. Cheeky. I know that was a really bad joke after I thought of it. Anyway, TSW Distance has just been poking me and asked, well, you guys, since you guys were talking about what's coming up in the future, roadmaps and other things, do you think you could elaborate on if there's any more cool gadgets like stimulant kickbacks and or different varieties coming out later on? Because the Tokyo Epic Rare ones were really fun, they say.
For what, sorry?
Like the stimulant and kickbacks, the gadgets.
Yeah, I mean we have a bunch of
Craftable ones.
So, no, we always come up and with new items. I'm not sure anything specifically you have in mind, or
No, I'm just asking the question that they asked me to ask you. This is why I don't ask questions.
So I guess the Tokyo.
I read exactly what I have.
The Tokyo gadgets have, actually been the first new gadgets in the game, I think. And they're a lot of fun. People love having them. So I guess the question was, will we be getting more cool gadgets like that in the near future?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's it's gadgets are always the fun item that we can make. So of course, we have plenty new things planned. It's yeah.
Cool.
You almost feel like a weird question to me because it's like saying, are you guys still going to do anything cool in the game? I'm like, no, we were done.
Game's
We're
done,
done.
guys.
No,
Game
everything's gonna
over.
be horrible from here on out. It's gonna be terrible.
Hey. No. Not
The
not-
entire
kidding.
table is just going to be flares. Different
That's
flares.
three years
Hey!
plan,
Oh,
that's it.
Winter
I
is
gotta
coming.
say, I
No.
gotta say, yeah, winter is coming, right? I gotta say, 2 thumbs up for not including the flares in this new bag. Yeah, kudos for that.
They didn't
I
have
do
to. They've
have.
already got the anniversary flares with the golems.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
right?
That's the best idea.
Aren't there flares that are claimable in the item store too? Because I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure I saw
There
flares
is an
and I'm like,
anniversary
really?
flare gun, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why you don't like them. Look
uh-huh.
at that. They're awesome. They're so celebratory.
Yeah, I love items that are only stacked to 20 and take up my inventory space. They're great.
Yeah, but they
Didn't they
actually. Hang
Where
on,
are you?
they
I'll give
actually
you a whole
stack
bunch
up
right
to
now.
100 now, don't they? And by the way, as you said, you were gonna send them to Tomium anyway.
Yeah, so hashtag blame Tomium. Send all your epic flares to Tomium and via the bank in game. Wouldn't it be even awesomer if the flares, he could just like target people with them and like they'd have a knockback, kind of like the
Krampus
Krampus
rockets.
ones.
Yeah.
But this time you shoot them at people and then they fall over. That would just be hilarious.
You set them
Especially
on
on the,
fire.
especially on the train. Oh my god, that'd be like so epic. Oh my god, I should try that. The Krampus rockets on the train, trying to do the train, and then you're jumping, like the last train to Cairo, and all of a sudden you just shoot off a Krampus rocket, and then you just knock yourself out. That'd actually be a bad idea. Never mind. This is why I should stop talking.
No, for this event, paintball guns that shoot tie-dye paint at everybody. That would be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
There we go.
So,
Do it right now. Go.
Yeah.
Whip
You
it out right
have
now.
2 days.
It's not like you have anything else to do. Come on now.
Yeah, wave your magic dev wand and just, make it happen.
Just press the button.
Press
What
the
if the
button.
whole
That's
game-
all it is.
What about
Whole game just
rainbows?
goes rainbow, yeah.
Yeah, what about rainbows? We had rainbows in the game during the first year for one of the events.
I want my feet to create rainbows as I run.
That would be cute, but I want an actual rainbow.
Then I can be Rainbow Dash finally.
Oh, I saw that one come.
Yep. I just made a My Little Pony joke, guys. It's the apocalypse. It's happening.
I know, for
I'm
like
pretty
the
sure
first...
the two, you and Sirity would just jump on that.
Oh, yes.
For like the first 20 episodes of her being on, I kept calling her Rainbow Dash, and she'd like, give me this evil stare through the internet every single
You could
time. And here
hear
she
it.
is. Here she is 3 years later, wants to be Rainbow Dash. Speaking of all the pretty colors in the rainbow, the chat channel has been asking about the Scooby-Doo gang and their clothing, and if they can get the Scooby-Doo gang's clothing, especially Daphne, because I think it was Critty that wanted it, or
Of
there's
course
actually
they
a whole
would.
bunch.
I don't know, honestly. Maybe we've used internal things just to do this kind of as a joke, like particularly for the anniversary, like of releasing them just for these
It was
events
awesome.
in particular. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was a nice little things. All of the clothing that we use is actually clothing that we already have in game. We just tinted them to be able to match the characters a bit more. We don't really have an easy way of releasing them just for particular tints. You know, it might become as well slightly too close to some other things. So maybe, I mean, you know, we've talked about this like in previous talks, you know, about trying to give out more items, more colors for everything. And I would love to try and do this, but you know, I would like to try and improve a little bit on the store to see what we can do to try and offer more Swash, but without having the store feeling so convoluted, you know, the way it is right now. And these kind of things again is difficult. So yeah, maybe. We'll see what we can release and how we can release, you know, these things to make sense. Because I think it would just sound weird to 99% of the players. Suddenly you have just that one purple dress that appears in the store out of nowhere, saying, "Okay, what's the occasion?" So you know, we always need to find something behind it that sort of amplifies everything that we do and everything that makes sense. So there's a theme, or there's all this kind of stuff.
Cool. I think you were trying to ask something.
Yes.
I think the stream just crashed.
I think it did just crash.
I think the stream just crashed out.